at 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Citi News.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Eyewitness News, coming to you live from our studios here in Accra. My name is Salom Adunu. Tonight I'm here with
Hawa Idrisu Mustafa.
Coming up over the next 90 minutes.
This is the Electronic Transfer Levy Repeal Bill. That's the famous e-levy bill. I'll proceed to sign it.
E-levy, betting tax and other so-called nuisance tax is officially scrapped as President John Mahama assents to the bills repealing them. What will be the effect of the scrapping? What be the effect of scrapping these taxes on the ordinary man and the economy? Will bring you some answers. Also coming up, President Mahama directs investigative bodies to work with ranking member on Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament on claims he made that two suspicious flights suspected to be involved in drug trafficking and money laundering arrived and left Ghana recently from Gran Canaria. Still on Eyewitness News.
The two of them died and the rest ran away. Actually, if some are left in there, I'll be surprised, but I cannot rule it out.
Two died following the collapse of a Galamsey pit at Mpasetia in the Ashanti region. And also, still on Galamsey, the magistrate at Enchi, who ordered the release of excavators to persons standing trial for engaging in illegal mining, sets aside his ruling and orders the Forestry Commission and the police to hold the equipment for safekeeping. More on this later. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and other stories on Eyewitness News and in business.
Ghana's inflation drops for third straight month to 22.4% in March.
There is more business in the next 50 minutes. Eyewitness News is live across the country on all our affiliates and around the globe at citinewsroom.com. In the Western region, this is Premier 100.5 FM in Takrady and Beach 105.5 FM also in Takrady. In the Bono region, this is Greener 95.9 FM in Sonyani. In the Hafo region, Hames Radio 106.5 FM in Gosu. In the Ashanti region, Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, this is Akpini Radio 96.7 megahertz in Pando and Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohoi. In the northern region, this is Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi. In the upper east, Word 88.3 FM in Zwarungu. In the upper west region, this is Westlink 88.1 FM in Laura and Eagle 94.1 FM in Wali Wali in the northeast region. Your comments are welcome via WhatsApp line 0549986996. You can follow me on X at Salom Adun. The hashtag, as always, is Citi Newsroom. Hawa gives us our very first story.
President John Dramani Mahama has approved a series of legislative bills to abolish several taxes, including the electronic transfer levy, betting tax, and emissions tax. This move aligns with the National Democratic Congress's commitment to easing the financial burden on Ghanaians. On March 13, 2025, Finance Minister Dr. Kasia Olatoforson presented 8 bills to Parliament seeking to repeal or amend various taxes and levies. Here are excerpts from the President's signing of the bills.
This is the Electronic Transfer Levy Repeal Bill. That's the famous e-levy bill. I'll proceed to sign it. Today is the 2nd of April, 2025. Okay, I've just given assent to the repeal of the famous e-levy bill. Now, this is the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2025 to remove withholding tax on winnings from lottery, betting, and games of chance. This is the famous betting tax repeal bill. And so I'll assent to it, 2nd April. So betting tax is gone.
You heard President John Dramani Mahama.
Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. So as you just heard the president say, betting tax is gone. Of course, e-levy and a few other ones too, are in the same category. Let's speak to someone who understands taxes. Is Francis Timobo, is a tax analyst. He joins us on the line. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. Yes, the promise was made. Parliament did its bit, and today the president assented to those bills. Your general thoughts on what has happened today and how that affects the Ghana's taxing regime?
So I think if you look at the legislative process, the last stage would be for the head of the Ghana Publishing to gazette it. But if you look at the speed with which this particular repeal has traveled, it's obvious that we may see the last stage happening soon, and then this particular tax will not be applicable anymore in Ghana. So all of us are happy that when we transact mobile money, we will not be charged the 1% anymore. We have had instances where the Minister of Finance has indicated that, yes, they are going to be able to find money for the lost revenue. So it's good news for all of us.
I see. Yes, the gazetting and all of that will be done. But when the gazetting is done, does it mean that immediately the gazetting is done, the various agencies of state that collect the taxes, GRA, for example, will immediately stop collecting these taxes, or something else must happen to make them stop collecting the taxes?
So the practice in Ghana is that when the gazette is done and the GRA receives the gazette notification, normally it will happen midnight. These are systems that are used to collect these taxes. Currently, the GRA uses what we call the ELMAS. So if granted that they receive it tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow being 3rd, then midnight into 4th of April, the GRA is likely to, instruct the charging entities to cease the collection of the taxes. And because it is done centrally and digitally, hopefully there won't be much challenges. What we anticipate is that some may have some challenges. These are digital systems or IT systems. So if for some reason you may have been wrongly charged, I think it could be in error, and the necessary procedures must be followed to, get your refund. But currently the GRA is the one that implements it, and I've heard somewhere that they've indicated that they are expecting the gazette notification to be issued by tomorrow. Then the instructions will be given to the charging entities to apply the notice by midnight of 3rd getting into 4th of April.
So is it just as simple as saying to the system stop, and the system stop charging, or the systems will have to go through a process of recalibration, etc., so that we do not have the instances we saw before when we're trying to marry the systems? For example, e-levy being subtracted from one account you have and not the other, and the fact that people were now made to go take refunds, etc. Is it as simple as just saying stop charging and the systems will stop charging, or it's a process that must be recalibrated?
So I think stopping it will not cause so much problem like we were going live when we were charging. Fortunately, these are IT systems. Best, what the charging entities can do is to zero rate the tax line. So you can transact, all right, but the tax rate will be you won't see any amount there. It will be zero. And then maybe the inscriptions and everything will be there. But I agree with you that these are systems, and potentially some customers may be experiencing charges. But the good thing is that the instruction will come. And over the years, what we've noticed is that when tax law is being repealed, stopping it does not cause so much problem like when you want to implement it. So we hope to have a smooth cessation point.
I see. So, talk to me about the effect this will have on the economy. Ordinary people may be happy that they will no longer be charged e-levy, etc. But what would this mean for the economy?
So the positive side is that, like some of the ministers have said, this money will come back to us. We're supposed to see a growth in our digital inclusion. Personally, for example, I've always been saying that if you consider MasterCard and Visa, they don't charge when you transact with those, platforms. So e-levy in itself from day one, as you also experienced, was met with too many issues. So in terms of positive signals, we expect that digitalization is going to, boost. We hope that the economy will be more formalized because things are now being transacted online. On the negative side, which we have already been told, the minister said for 2025, he expects that both betting and e-levy should not exceed 2 billion Ghana cedis, which he has already made provision for it by lowering the tax refund account from 6% to 4%. That alone will make room for immediately 3.8 billion Ghana cedis to the consolidated fund. So the money that he would have lost from abolishing this one is made available. So overall, I think that Ghanaians will have some, breathing space, especially for businesses who transact on mobile money transactions.
Very well. Thank you so much, Francis Timoboy, tax analyst, speaking to us on the repeal of the e-levy Act and a few others. Indeed, the president today assented to that bill, the repeal bill, and as we speak, of course, it has to be gazetted, and then we can be free from paying e-levy and the betting tax for those who indulge or engage in betting. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's speak to Dr. Stephen Amoah, who is a former Deputy Finance Minister and also Member of Parliament for Inshai, so on his thoughts on this particular matter. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. A promise has been made and a promise is being kept. What are your initial thoughts?
First, my regards to our cherished listeners this evening. I thank you for this opportunity. Honestly speaking, it looks as if now all tax policies are demonic in our country. And this is where we need to be very careful. Of course, for the president, he gave a promise and he's kept to his word. But whether it is for political gain or it is for socio-economic gain, so far as our fiscal space is concerned as a country and the stability of our economy, performing other statutory obligations. These are the questions that I'm asking myself and those who really, really understand the mechanism of our fiscal space, how it is managed to harmonize or consolidate the space or harmonize the underlying variables. There are so many questions to be asked. But of course, they promised and they've delivered. But whether that is...
What are some of those questions that you say are many to be asked?
That is, I think I just raised one. You're talking about fiscal space. My brother, when you talk about tax policies management, it is calibrated in nature. It's not just like you decide that politically, I want to increase a tax component by item, you increase or you take away. You need to look at the fact that your debt to GDP is really, really anything to go by. You need to look at the fact that indeed your domestic revenue generation is on point. It's meeting your obligations. You need to look at the fact that your fiscal space is in good shape or position to allow some of these taxes to go. But in any case, they themselves know that it wasn't the best idea. That's what they are talking about, trying to work on the calibration of the tax reduction. Sorry, is it tax? Is it
the refund account?
Sorry, the refund account from I think 6% to 4%, and they also increased some mining taxes and the other taxes that they were supposed to actually end or terminate. That they also brought those bills for continuity. So in another aspect of it, they are still kind of increasing taxes. And once you increase tax, it doesn't matter whether you increase it. It still has its ripple effect on the economy and other people. I'm not against any tax increase or tax introduction, depending on how your fiscal space is performing. And I think as a developing economy that we just came out of a very severe global economic crisis, that we have indicative targets to meet, and that our debt to GDP went so high to over 80%. Now that we are around 61.8, which to me is still quite high, that we need to work on. I think it's not the best decision, but of course, I mean, this is what we've made Ghanaians to believe, that this is what is good for Ghanaians. We don't want to go by it.
Well, quite interesting, because I know that in the lead up to the election, you also campaigned on scrapping e-levy and betting tax and all of that. Now you say it's not a good idea. Did you have these thoughts at the time you were promising this to the people of Ghana, or you didn't mean it at the time?
I think sometimes some of these questions, you put us in a situation, then you pick that aspect to go and let us look like we are contradicting somebody. I beg you, my position on this is that looking at how Ghana's economy is, looking at the fact that even direct tax that we generate is, I mean, we have just about 2.something million out of 34 million Ghanaians pay direct tax. And then even the indirect tax, we know we have issues with loopholes and very small tax base. We also talk about expanding the tax base. We're talking about a lot of obligations. Look at the, road sector, how much we owe contractors. Look at the pro-poor policies, whether we are really, really doing well. Look at deficits in other areas, whether indeed we have enough as a country to be doing these things. We're the same people that were fighting against tax exemptions just because we thought we needed a lot of money. Although tax exemption has its good and bad side, in terms of attracting a lot of investors to expand the economy, to grow and get a lot of taxes out of production in the long term, but short term will affect your revenue generation. So we have a lot of issues to manage. But I think going forward, this whole issue about taxes, as a country, we need to redefine our corporate focus when it comes to taxes. Not just when NDC guys are in power and they want to bring taxes, MPP in opposition will try to kind of make political gain out of it. And when MPP guys are in power and they want to kind of adjust our tax policies, they also make political capital out of it, and Ghanaians will go against it. I think this cyclical political unfortunate issues as a country, if we really want to attain long
hello? Yes.
Independent, then we need to be very careful with some of these issues.
Yeah, so the concern really is being that, the e-levy, for example, was affecting everybody, and it wasn't inclusive enough. It was retrogressive, or it was a regressive tax, and all of that. You talk about increasing the growth and sustainability taxes. That goes to the mining companies. I'm not sure you can compare the effect of taxing the mining companies to effect of taxing individuals. Individuals feel it, directly in their pocket. No matter how much it is, they feel it directly. So, of course, the minister has said, or the deputy minister has said, that scrapping e-levy alone now leaves over 2 billion cedis in the pocket of Ghanaians to do other things with. So, in the end, it is the relief it brings to Ghanaians that appears to be the focus of government.
But you are the same person saying that it is not inclusive enough. And now you are saying that it leaves 2.something billion in Ghanaians' pocket. A lot of people, let me tell you why those days, those taxes were very necessary. That's why I said that the management of it is calibrated in nature. It's not like it has to be one way. No. We got into a situation in our country that the whole world economy went very bad. You can accept it or not, people can do politics, but that was a fact. To the extent that civil and public service workers were asked to stay home, but they were paid. Private sector sacked over 40,000 people. We ran short of corporate taxes and PE to the extent that that year, you remember, our revenue shortfall went as high as almost 12 billion in our country. And then our debt to GDP, as I said, went to almost 100%. and the only solution was to get a lot of revenue generated internally. And you realize that most market activities have been impaired. And then a lot of the market activities were shifted to east side. And so we wanted to find an innovative way of getting into the businesses in the east side to make some money, to stop the country totally collapsing. So those days, it's not like the government was being very difficult and wicked bringing taxes. But at the same time, you don't have taxes. And they also provide utilities and other needs for the same people you are talking about. So I think, of course, nobody wants to pay taxes. But a country such as Ghana, we should only look at how we use our taxes. I think that is where most of the problems are. The leakages, and then some other people who are evading taxes. But apart from that, the situation we find ourselves in, I don't think that we should be so happy when we are not paying taxes. Because it's like cutting your nose and spiting your face or something, or to spite your face. So I think this whole discussion, I don't want to really, really go the way I used to do my things when it comes to some of these things. But I want us to really, really open up as a people, as stakeholders, and see what can we do best to get to the point that this economy of ours, one day, will not wake up. IMF and World Bank and others are saying that, no, we cannot support you again. And then this country comes to a standstill. I think we need to get to the point that one day, most of the young people can get jobs to do because the economy has properly been expanded or it has been very stable. We need to wake up one day and say that, hey, Ghana, we are rather allowing other countries to depend on us because we have what it takes. We are so much endowed as a country in terms of resources, in terms of natural resources, raw materials, in terms of labor size and skill component and labor size. But we have a lot of issues. We have a lot of problems. We are always going up and down, like pendulum movement of our economy. Is this what we want? So I think the politics of all these things, sometimes we need to find a nice way to change. There should be a paradigm shift. I want us to go.
Yeah, talking about paradigm shift,
I'm not condemning the president. I'm not condemning the NDC, but I'm saying that this issue about taxes, when and how and what time and whatever it is, we should be having a national conversation and make sure that we do the right thing, not because of politics for NPP or NDC.
There are other things that could be taxed. Of course, the minister talks about compliance, but there are other things that could be taxed. We talk about property taxes. For 8 years, your government said they were trying to work around it. We have still not had that. This administration promises to do that. Many have said that it is better to tax properties rather than taxing the transactions of people like e-levy. So it's not as if there's a hole that will not be filled. The government has said that it has a plan of filling the hole and even expanding the taxness so that we do not feel, the negative effect of scrapping those taxes. That should be a fair deal for Ghanaians.
But you see, my brother, even me, that I'm speaking as a politician, because it is my field, I'm trying not to do politics. But sometimes some of you ask questions and you provoke other dimensions. Because you're talking about my government. this whole democracy. Then NDC, you say that they have come, this government is saying, but weren't they in power for 16 years? If that is what you want to talk about, it's a national issue. You should raise it that way. But don't say your government. You there wasn't your government. I mean, sometimes let's all be there, because if we want to do politics, we also discuss it will be purely political. And then we wouldn't get anything good from it. Because were we supposed to only do property tax only the last 8 years? So before the 8 years, we're not having properties. We didn't need those taxes. So you raise these things as a national issue, then we all discuss it. But if you try to do politics, then you push me into doing politics.
No. I mean, I don't think I'm doing politics. It was a major promise you made. It was a major promise you made to reform the tax regime.
My brother, you yourself, haven't you made promise to yourself before that circumstances not enable you to achieve them? I think we are in opposition now. We are discussing taxes. If you want to go back promises we made, then I can also tell you that anybody who is honest with God, with what happened in the whole world, what we did for Ghana, government could have been able to do that. Except that most of you and most of the media space, people use propaganda and other things against us. We could not manage. And the people went through hardship and they voted against us. But trust me, we did a lot. In terms of infrastructure, in terms of special interventions and other things. And even before we left power, look at the major economic indicators, even compared to 2016 we took over. So if we want to go there, we have a lot to say, honestly. But I think we are discussing issues about a tax promise they made and they perform. And I'm bringing a technical aspect to it that yes, they've done well because they keep to their promise. But is it political or it's going to give us the needed economic benefits? Now, he's saying that because we promise, and now we're going about what we promise and what we get. Then let's start from 2016. Whatever we met, whatever promise we made, those we were able to do, those we couldn't do, against what situation. If that is all want to go, then we can go about that.
Very well. All right. Thanks so much, the Honorable Dr. Stephen Amoah, former Deputy Finance Minister and MP for Inchaeso, speaking to us on the matter. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We take a short break, but before that, a few of your messages that have come through. This one from Abi National says there are all indications that the President Mahama is ready to change this country for the better. Nyodik Ni Atukwe Kwe in Accra says the president has done well for keeping his promises. The majority of Ghanaians are happy so far within 3 months. We can't wait for the 20 years of reset of Ghana under the NDC good governance, you say. David from Ejiso Krapa says, good evening, Salom. The NDC government has delivered another campaign promise. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's go to the line and then speak to Dr. Kobi Boateng. I understand we don't have him on the line. We'll raise him back and then have a conversation with him. He's the chief executive of Bingo Bet. Eyewitness News 97.3 Citi FM. We'll take a short break. We'll return with more. Don't go away.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Oh, jump on now.
Go. Google me. At what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car?
No, I not change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind, Seth, be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium, they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open them.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, then make a finish my go be fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my go be inside?
I give you info. Make a fill the go be too small.
Go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's speak to Dr. Kobi Boateng, who is Chief Executive Officer at the Bingo Bet, which is a betting outfit. Indeed, we are discussing the scrapping of e-levy and betting tax and a few other taxes we've called nuisance taxes. The president today assented to those bills, repealing them. And we're just taking reactions from industry and a few other people. Dr. Kobi Boateng is Chief Executive Officer for the Bingo Bet. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. Yes, the betting tax was repeal bill was passed in Parliament a few days ago, and now the president is assented to it, which essentially, almost concludes the process for having this tax off our books and off our necks. What are your reactions?
Thank you. Good evening to your listeners. As you are aware, I'm also the president of the Ghana Sports Betting Association, so I think you are in the right direction. Right. Yes, we are so much happy about the the abolition of the betting tax, as we so call it, which is actually the tax on withholding of customers, right? We think it's in the positive direction. We also feel that it is the right thing to be done now because in terms of its collection and implementation and monitoring of the payment of the tax, we think that GRA was unable to, as it has wanted, to collect as much as it had meant to collect, and therefore did not generate that significant revenue from the tax for the government. And of course, the introduction of that tax was thought that it would reduce betting behavior, and this was not achieved. And the most important thing too, as we are aware of, the money that was being deducted from the customers, I think that with this abolition gives them a fair sense of relief. And we believe that that might translate into more revenue for the government.
You said targeting. You said this levy or tax targeting betting behavior did not succeed. Because we see a lot of the guys complaining and unable to get into it or to bet more because they feel that even if they won, a portion of it was going into taxes. So that was some deterrence, was it not?
To be honest with you, when we look at the data that we have, it will be seen clearly that with the imposition of this particular tax, withholding betting tax, interestingly, there was an increase in the number of customers that actually circulate within our fraternity, meaning that in 2023, based on the report of one of my dear colleagues, Dr. Henderson, we had an increase from 380 million transactions to 2024, moving upwards to 620 million. 620 million transactions. So you can see from here that there was an upward surge, right? So this is a situation where we reflect upon it and see that when it comes to the betting industry, as in the alcohol and cigarette industry, it tends to be inelastic. So, of course, what was eating into our customers is that imagine you having lost a lot of gains and then once upon a time you have a huge winning and someone is taking a percentage out of it. Yes, this was the total worrying part of it, which we also feared at that time, that it might even impair the revenue generation of the betting industry, but it did not.
I see. The fact that betting is addictive, others have argued, forms part of the policy decision to introduce this tax. Now that you're saying that your data suggests otherwise, how do we deal with the addictive part of betting?
I think with the addictive part of it, it comes around with responsible gaming. And this is one part which, together with the gaming industry, we are forcefully coming on this particular year. We've had some kind of meetings with the new gaming commissioner, Mr. Citi, and obviously we've also had some kind of independent consultants that are going to be working hand in hand with us. And we, as the association, Ghana's World Betting Association, are doing a lot of some kind of workshop coming in so that we address this issue of addiction. And we have, at the moment, certain things that we have actually put in place. And one of them is that we have instances where people might call in and tell us about their addiction problem. And with that, we have to block them up. So we block their account so that they are unable to go through that. If for any reason anybody believes that it's not being done, they approach the Gaming Commission and have it done. We also have some initial, temporarily now, put in certain places where referrals of really people that are really addicted to the game. We can refer them somewhere for consultancy and then counseling to see whether we can do something to help them in that direction. We are also looking at aggressively, as I told you, to do a program with the Gaming Commission to really educate the public about this addiction problems that some of our customers are facing. Right. So these are the measures that we are at the moment, putting in place.
But before you go, final one before you go, I recall at the time of introduction of this tax and when there was a whole discussion around it, some of you said, not you in particular, but some of you said instead of taxing the investors in quotes, rather tax the companies, so the companies can have a way of paying some more taxes so that the investors are left untaxed. Are you still open to that discussion?
My brother, bear in mind that this whole income tax act, we are only particularly paying attention to one side of the one type of the betting tax. But what the other one, which all the companies, we pay 20% of our GGR, that is the gross gaming revenue. So this revenue tax actually caters right at the top, meaning that the difference between the stake and the winning, even before our cost of operation and commissions to our software providers are taken, we pay a hefty 20% of that tax. And last year, if my memory, 2024, that was mostly 250, 300 million Ghana cedis, which was paid to the taxman, right? So it is not that, just that we have not complained so much, and so that side of the argument is very quiet. I hope you understand.
Very well.
So, yes, the operators are paying heftily to the government, and the withholding tax was what was supposed to be a tax on the winnings from the customers.
Very well. Thank you so much, Dr. Kobe Boateng, CEO, Bingo Bet, and also President of the Ghana Sports Betting Association. Thanks so much for speaking to us on Eyewitness News on this matter. Now let's do some Galamsey stories. The Enchi District Court in the Western North region has reversed its earlier ruling on the release of mining equipment seized from illegal miners within the Boyne Forest Reserve. The court, presided over by His Worship Lawrence Buenoboa, ruled that its initial order was erroneous and lacked jurisdiction. The case, involving six accused persons, 4 of whom were absent and 2 declared at large, centers on illegal mining activities commonly referred to as Galamsey. The court acknowledged that its earlier decision on Friday, March 28th, to release 2 excavators and other mining equipment to their owners for evacuation and relocation was wrong in law. Upon reviewing the facts and applicable mining laws, the court declared its previous order null and void. One person who has been very active in the fight against Galamsey, indeed, is a convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Dr. Ken Ashigbe. He joins us on the line. Of course, we'll talk to him on 2 issues. He wears a number of hats. He is the CEO of the chamber of the telecoms chamber, and also the convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. 2 very unrelated things, but he somehow wears both hats. Hello, Engineer. Good evening. Welcome to Eyewitness News. Let's deal with this illegal mining thing first of all. So yes, I know a lot of people were unhappy with the magistrate's ruling to release the excavators to the accused. Now that he has set aside his own decision or his own ruling, that surely should come to persons like you and other conveners as some great news.
Well, thank you very much, Solomon. It just tells you that radio and media gets results. I wrote an article on that yesterday. I was on Citi, the morning show this morning, to talk about it. I think that it is definitely despicable that, a magistrate, of his caliber, would make that error that he made. How he did not know about the Minerals and Mining Act. How come he did not know about the LI that talks about tracking of excavators? It's something that begs belief. But the big question, fellow, you should be asking yourself is now, who took this case to the wrong court? How is it that the police took this case to the wrong court? And then definitely the application for which he made a ruling, I'm sure the application should have been filed, an affidavit sworn. Wasn't that served on the police? So was the police in court? Because if you read his judgment, it does not mention the fact that the police was. And if the police was, you would have been expecting that the police would have been knowledgeable of the Minerals and Mining Act and would have been have known that the Minerals and Mining Act, if you look at Act 995, it talks about the fact that when these cases are reported, the equipment are confiscated and kept to the police, so that when conviction happens, then forfeiture can happen. So now that this magistrate has allowed the equipment to move, and from the tone of his new order, it looks as if the equipment has been moved already. I pray for his sake that they find it. Otherwise, you have to get him to buy those excavators that would have gone missing. And at this stage, we should be asking the IGP to institute an investigation into this, that who took this case to the wrong jurisdiction. We all know by the Minerals and Mining Act that this case should have gone to the High Court. So how come it ended up in his court and he did such a shambolic job about it? It really beggars belief. And we hope that the Chief Justice would also institute some investigation and disciplinary action against the judge, the magistrate, if he is found to have been culpable.
Very well. But at least for now, they set aside a ruling, and so we will take it as it comes. But of course, we will not relent. We will keep following. We will keep pushing until the right things are done. Now, let's get to the other bit. E-levy, President assented to the repeal bill today, almost done. How ready are the telcos, I mean, in stopping to charge the particular levy?
Okay, so you know that you, Salam, know better than I do that once the president signs, it ought to be gazetted. So as we speak, we're waiting for GRA to receive the gazette. And then again, you know that for systems as complex as the e-levy system, that has the LMAS that is run by the GRA, and then all the EMIs, the banks, the savings and loans also have systems that they have that have to talk to the LMAS and do the charging. So we would require some time to be able to reset our systems once the gazette is received. Now a lot of the work has happened in the test environment. Various players would have to now move them into the production environment and do the necessary calibration and tweaking for the system to take effect. So I'm sure there will be some little lag between when the gazette is received and when we will go live. But then what would happen immediately with the engagement that we've done with the GRA is the fact that we will start off by first resetting the e-levy to zero. So I'm sure once all of these calibrations are done, you will see the e-levy written on the notifications you get, but the figure would be zero. Then it will take us some time to then clean it up and make sure that you don't see that again. Additionally, the GRA has also given guidelines that once the gazetting is done and we agree when we are going to go live based on the technical time that's required, if inadvertently anybody charges e-levy after that, that charge will not go into the consolidated fund. So it means that the refund, if it will be done in that stage, will be done by the charging entities. And the GRA, by their guidelines, are asking that those refunds are done quickly if the unlikely events happen. So we currently are waiting for the gazette, and then once the gazette is triggered, we then will start moving our systems from the test stage into the production stage and doing all the calibrations and making sure that we can have a seamless rollout of the repeal of the law.
Very well. Thank you so much, Engineer Kenashigwe. Thanks so much for speaking to us tonight, and we'll engage again some other time. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Now let's get back to the matter of illegal mining. Now the Ashanti Regional National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, is considering deploying excavators to dig out the collapsed area of the Mpasetia mining pit to determine if more individuals are trapped. The abandoned pit collapsed yesterday, claiming 2 lives. Speaking to Citi News, the Ashanti Regional Operations Officer of NADMO, W. Charles Boahini, stated that it remains unclear whether additional people are still trapped.
The one that who saw the tin caving in asked that they should leave. There were a number of them. When they were leaving, unfortunately, some of the mud came on his laps. When he was sitting there, he asked the other guy to assist him. In the process of assisting, he too went in. So the two of them died, and the rest ran away. Actually, if some are left in there, I'll be surprised, but I cannot rule it out. We will try and see if we get to the MC who is there, whoever is in assisting the assembly, we will tell him if they have these drip machines and it's possible that we'll come and do it. It's a teamwork. Now we'll corroborate the other agencies, then we'll sit down and come around and see if we can then come and then do something further about what they've done already.
You heard W.O. Charles Boahene, who is the Ashanti Regional Operations Officer for the National Disaster Management Organization. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Now to some other stories. The Office of Special Prosecutor has reportedly arrested popular journalist Godin Asare-Bediako of Wontumi TV. While details surrounding the arrest remain unclear, reports indicate that he was picked up on Tuesday, April 1, following allegations he made against the special prosecutor. Now, Godin Asare-Bediako himself, after having been released, has joined us on the phone now to help us appreciate really what the concerns or what the issues are. Hello, good evening, Godwin. Godwin, welcome to Eyewitness News. How are you doing?
By grace, I'm good. You?
By grace, I'm also well. We were quite concerned that you were in the grip of the security agencies. What actually happened? The Office of the Special Prosecutor picked you up?
I cannot really pick me up, but let me just send my appreciation to my colleagues, especially for the media. A lot of them have been here to show solidarity, and I want to appreciate them and my family, my wife, and everybody. But I wasn't really picked up. So when I ended my morning program, I left the studio. So around 12:30 thereabouts, I had a call. I picked it. And then somebody said it was an officer of OSP, that he had come to have a conversation with me in my office at Wontumi or Movement Television. So I said, I was outside, so maybe you could reschedule the meeting or to any other day or maybe later in the day. And he said, okay. So I said, what time will it be possible for us to meet again? And they said it would be at the office. So I elected to pass by the office since he said it was going to be a conversation with me. So I said, okay, fine, then let me pass by your office at the OSP so that we could have that conversation. Because then I asked him whether he knew the subject matter. And they said, no, his boss had asked him to come and have a conversation with me. So when we meet, then we could open discussions. And I said, okay. Then later on, I said, let me call him again and find out what the actual case was. He so insisted that he didn't know. So I told him that I have an exam to write tomorrow. And that if they are actually inviting me, then I will expect a formal invitation. Because I don't want to do it, but I will go to their office and it turned out to be something else. So if I have to go with a lawyer, then I will know. Then he said, no, it was a mere conversation. I said, okay, why not? I mean, after all, we are 4 days of the realm. We talk to a lot of people, IGBOC, whatever, so that if there's something that needed to be sorted out. So I went there on my own volition. Then when I went there, I was ushered into a room. Interrogators came to sit down. So I was in the midst of about 5 people. Then the bottom line was that I had said previously, about 2 weeks ago, on Movement Television, that the OSP had earlier requested the government to provide him with a private jet because his job was a higher risk job and that he didn't want to endanger the lives of occupants on the flight. A statement I made, I don't deny that I made that statement. And so because I made that statement on air, they think that I was impugning the integrity of the OSP and it was corruption and corruption-related matter. And I said, but if I'm saying that the OSP has requested the government to provide him with a private jet, how can it be related to corruption? But they expanded it, to their understanding and my understanding, which I will post. So the bottom line is that, fine, so far as I've said that I should give them the source of my information. And I said, I heard that one from government circles, and I couldn't really recollect who actually said that one to me. But they insisted, and it dragged for more than an hour. I was there from 2:30 and got around almost 6. That they actually wanted to know the source to assist them in the further investigations. But I couldn't provide it. And so I'm a journalist. I'm not sure I could be compelled by anybody in the institution to provide my source. So I was given a bail bond of 5 million Ghana cedis with two securities, and they came to satisfy the bond. So I'm out.
Interesting, I see. So are you to report back to them on any day, given a date to come back to them?
On Friday, God willing, Friday morning, 10 a.m. I'll be there. And I've actually instructed my lawyer to go through the books and find out where I could sue the OSP for wrongful detention. Because I'm not sure the OSP has a mandate to request a journalist to give a source. At best, the OSP could even say that I've maligned him, all those kind of things, and you could go on a civil way with me, or you could go out retracting an apology. You could even seek that. You could talk to me, oh, this one is not true, so you have to retract and apologize, which of course I'm a journalist, if I could do. But I don't know the chances that they want to go. So I've told my lawyer that he should go through the books and see the OSP for me.
So you go on Friday to continue still digging into what your source is
I
or
don't
was?
know. I don't really know whether they are going to dig further, but they say I should report. I mean, if you go for, I've gone for an interrogation, bail bond satisfied. Maybe Friday they have a different thing that they want to bring up. I don't really know. I'll be there on Friday because today I went there on my own volition. I wasn't paid. I wasn't given any formal invitation. The person came to my office in my absence, and I elected to be there personally myself without any compulsion. And eventually I was put under arrest and detained. So, I mean, it's part of it.
All right, very well. Godwin, we are with you. We hope that all things pan out well. And we pray that you are safe and all is well. Thanks so much for speaking to us.
Yeah, I thank the media for the media solidarity.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for speaking to us, and we wish you all the best. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. A few of your messages that have come through. This one from Zalex Doing. In the UK says, thank you, Mr. President, especially abolishing the e-levy. Courage in Koforidua says, what a good time to be alive in Ghana. Nuisance taxes are gone, courts are making sharp U-turns on their own unfair ruling, and security forces are to collaborate with opposition MP to prove his claim of drug trafficking. If this positive trend continues, Ghana will surely become a better place for everyone. GM Tuasu. Ghanaians wholeheartedly support the president. The president's decision to scrap the e-levy, emissions tax, and betting tax. These actions honor his campaign promises and provide much-needed relief to Ghanaians, fostering economic growth and ensuring a fairer fiscal environment. This move reflects a commitment to prioritize the well-being of citizens, promoting financial stability for all. Mausi Aibi Einstein Abutateti. Jones Adoboinla says, at long last, Ghanaians can now breathe a sigh of relief. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Now, let's do the story regarding the Honorable Intim Fojo, who is a ranking member on Parliament's Defense and Interior Committee. Reverend John Intim Fojo has formally requested a high-level briefing from Ghana's top security agencies amid concerns over recent national security incidents. In a letter issued today, Reverend Fojo urged the committee chairman to summon representatives from National Security, Police CID, the Narcotics Control Commission, and the National Investigations Bureau for an emergency meeting. The meeting, scheduled for Monday, April 7, will seek answers on these three major cases, including Operation in Sapeman, major cocaine bust, and the suspicious aircraft landings that have sparked public outcry. If you recall, yesterday, President John Dramani Mahama asked the security agencies to collaborate with the MP to investigate the claims that he made that two suspicious flights arrived in Ghana for a number of days and departed the country to an island in Spain. And so, in furtherance of that, the MP issued a letter today, rather asking the committee chairman to invite or summon representatives from the security agencies that are to collaborate with him to Parliament to brief the committee on the said cases, the Saperman operation, where some gold bars and some dollars were seen in about 12 containers, an operation carried out by the National Security Outfit. major cocaine bust, street value of some $350 million, busted at Pedu Junction near Cape Coast, and what the MP says are suspicious aircraft landings that have sparked public outcry. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll take a short break. When we return, it will be time for Citi Business News. Don't go away.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Sewudru krum na wote yes charcoal toothpaste aya no ya hwe yie na obi amfa so kwan na no wakyenkyena esane se charcoal toothpaste bebre ane wodwa so na so nya no nyina na yema wo se titru mpo ni se wo nyini no bon ho modin se wo beto charcoal toothpaste a ye di bidia nkasa ye na anya dai kekene bi agumu na wode yin keka wafiri osimu na wo se anya hoden na se efita to charcoal toothpaste fluoride ewo mu na bo se ho ban na mana ye din da ekosi se obaba kokora na sa abrewa Pepsodent charcoal toothpaste dear, what dibidie, lemon, mint, and zinc, and a carbomoye. Ente ma wasi ding, na wonum so ehwam de muni na. Pepsodent dear, yenim no dadao. Enti wasa dibidie, lemon, and mint, a carbomoye dear. And ye naturally say, yes, sing adam for no. E bem wonum ehwam, na bo se ho ban afrinki kan wa biemu. To Pepsodent charcoal toothpaste. Fetchu sin. Na mo se ho ban abrebia.
Charlie, where are you?
Boss man, I'm at the bank.
Really? But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, paid Ahmed's school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Walwale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Masa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store, or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees, to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more, EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Well, it's now time for Citi Business News, and Hawa Idrisu Mustafa is here. But I mean, this is how I sign out. There'll be no point blank today because there'll be an EPL game between Liverpool and Everton, the Merseyside derby. And so just after the business news, the sports desk will be in the studio to provide some analysis on the game before it even starts. So it's now time for Citi Business News. How are Idrisu Mustafa?
Now, details of our stories, and the Ghana's inflation rate continued its downward trajectory in March 2025, slowing to 22.4% from 23.1% in February. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, food inflation saw a decline to 26.5% from 28.1% in February. Non-food inflation also inched down, albeit marginally, from 18.8% to 18.7%. Speaking during a media briefing, government statistician Professor Samuel Kabna Inim attributed the decline to easing food price pressures.
And this rate of inflation in March 2025 stood at 22.4%. Exclusive, which simply means that once an item is found in one division, it only stays there and would not be found in another division. Consumer Price Index for the month of March 2025 was 256.5 relative to 209.5 that was recorded for the same time in March 2024. Consumer Price Index for the month of March 2025 stood at 256.5 relative to 209.5. Given these two indices, year-on-year annual inflation for the month of March 2025 stood at 22.4%. Year-on-year annual inflation for the month of March 2025 stood at 22.4%. This means that generally price levels of goods and services between March 2024 and March 2025 went up by 22.4%. Between March 2024 and March 2025, general price levels of goods and services went up by 22.4%. This rate of inflation that has been recorded for the month of March 2025 indicates a 0.7 percentage point drop. That's a slowdown in the rate of inflation on a year-on-year basis as we did record 23.1% for the month of February 2025, and this rate of inflation has slowed down by 0.7 percentage points, leading to a year-on-year rate of inflation of 22.4%.
He had government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna-Ini. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has begun its fourth review of Ghana's Extended Credit Facility Program. The mission, which will run from April 2 to April 15, will assess Ghana's fiscal performance, monetary policy and structural reforms. Discussions have started at the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana. Finance Minister Dr. Kasiola Tufosun highlighted key reforms, including tax amendment and procurement changes. The review's outcome will determine Ghana's eligibility for the next IMF funding tranche. A final statement is expected on April 15, with hopes of economic stabilization by May 2025. Now, Chief Executive of MTN Ghana, Stephen Blewett, has clarified that the abolition of the electronic transfer levy cannot take immediate effect, as it must go through regulatory approval. His remarks follow President John Dramani Mahama's assent to legislative bills aimed at scrapping several taxes, including the e-levy, betting tax and emissions tax. Speaking at MTN House in Accra today, Blewett acknowledged public anticipation but stressed the need for compliance with regulatory procedures.
The action has to take place. I can't abolish e-levy until I'm told you do it. I mean, if I do it ahead of time, the Bank of Ghana will catch me. So we have a process that has to be followed, and we will follow that process. I think people need to understand for e-levy, the abolishment of e-levy is around, because in terms, and I read an article a few days ago, in terms of what it actually developed, what it actually delivered for the fiscus was not nearly as high as the predictions. So I think, rightly so, the approach now is people have this perception that suddenly there's a lot of money flying around the ecosystem. No, the reason for the abolishment of e-levy is to encourage momentum in mobile money. So that's what it will deliver. It will get us back on a faster momentum.
Stephen Blewett is MTN Ghana Chief Executive Officer. The technical committee established to advise the government on private sector participation in power distribution companies like the ECG and NEDCO has presented its report to the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, with 3 key recommendations, including entity concession, multiple lease and service franchise. The committee believes these measures will help address the challenges facing the ECG. Committee Chairman Jabesh Emisa Arthur spoke during an engagement with the Energy and Green Transition Minister.
There's one that we call, the first one, option A, that we call the entity concession, where the whole distribution business would be given out to a private concession as one whole concession. Then there's option B, which we are calling the multiple lease, in which case the distribution across the country will be divided into several parts, and each of them awarded to probably a different private sector participator to operate and to invest in. Then there's a third option, which we call option C, the service franchise, in which case the private sector will operate the network, the low voltage network from the distribution transformer to deliver services to the homes. So those are the 3 principal options we considered, and the strengths and weaknesses of each have been identified and discussed in the report that we have presented.
Jabesh Emisa is the technical committee chair of the committee set up to advise the government on private sector participation in power distribution companies. Now, in a bid to enhance the ease of doing business and attract more investment, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center has launched a 24-hour premium service. The center asserts the initiative aligns with the government's broader 24-hour economic policy. Speaking at the launch in Accra, GIP6 Executive Director Simon Maji noted that the premium service is designed to provide round-the-clock support for investors and ensuring faster processing of investment applications.
This premium service aligns with best global practices. It is important to note that it will offer significant advantages for investors. Notably, by prioritizing urgent business needs, we are eliminating the processing delays.
That was the Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Simon Maggie. Industry leaders in the technical and vocational sector are urging young people to prioritize precision and quality in their work. They believe that delivering services according to client specifications and industry standards can enhance job opportunities. Speaking to journalists at the Precision Quality internship program organized by the Design Technology Institute in collaboration with Ascent and Arts Limited, the board chair of Ascent and Arts Limited, George Sapon, underscores the need to combine technical skills with the right work ethics.
It's fabrication, but even doing it, it's not just the fabrication or the welding. Are you doing it to precision? Think about it. When you go to see an artisan on the roadside and he comes home to do some work for you, sometimes you look at it and you ask him or her, is this the best you can do? Did he do it to the right measurement, to the right stress test that you needed? These are the skills that are needed globally right now. Around the world, you have countries that are shipping people back to their countries, but they still need skills. They are looking for welders, people who can weld to world standard, people who can fabricate, artisans who can do the job, that can stand the test of time. So these are the hard skills, the soft skills that you needed. Somebody also may say that I have the passion to start my own business, but I don't know what it takes. You're going to take the person through that kind of training for them to be able to harness what they have in themselves, to be able to become real entrepreneurs. These are the qualities and the kind of training we're talking about that we give to them.
George Sapon is the board chair of Ascent and Art Limited. Ending City Business News on Eyewitness News. I am Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Have a good evening.
City News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, City 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at City 973.